Voters in Texas have given Governor Mitt Romney an overwhelming victory. And tonight, Governor Mitt Romney is officially the Republican nominee for President of the United States. Personally, I supported Governor Romney when my first choice dropped out of the presidential race because I believe that Governor Romney will make a great American president. I believe that he and his wife Ann and their entire family and team and supporters, of which I am proud to call myself one of at this point in time, all deserve a moment to celebrate. We must also respect the other candidates: Speaker Newt Gingrich, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, Herman Cain, Governor Rick Perry, Governor Tim Pawlenty, and Senator Rick Santorum, and Congressman Thad McCotter of Michigan for their efforts in the campaigns they ran. Up until his withdrawal in the presidential race, I supported Newt Gingrich. I'm proud to have done so, and I am proud to be supporting Mitt Romney as my not only as my second choice, but as the nominee of the Republican Party. As I said when I announced my support of Governor Romney following Speaker Gingrich's withdrawal from the presidential race, I believe that Governor Romney offers America a clear and concise contrast with the failed policies of the past couple of years. Mitt Romney has accomplished things that would enable him to be a better and stronger, more effective president. He has the business experience that America needs in government. He was a good governor of the state of Massachusetts, helping to turn that state around financially, enforce our immigration laws, and stop liberals from raising taxes and spending. The result was that Massachusetts created jobs, welfare rules were updated, pensions were reformed, and deficits were turned into surpluses. The record of Mitt Romney versus that of Barack Obama are very different. Some very clear differences and some not so clear differences. Governor Romney cut spending, reduced taxes 19 times, and fundamentally reformed government. President Obama has done just the opposite. Mitt Romney not only supports the idea of free enterprise, he lived it. President Obama represents a vision for the future, also his vision of the past 4 years that moves America in a path of of European social democracy, of more government spending, more poverty, higher debt, and more unemployment. The differences on the economy could not be any more stark. Mitt Romney supports tax cuts to stimulate economic growth. President Obama opposes tax cuts. Mitt Romney has proposed spending reductions. President Obama has proposed spending increases. Mitt Romney supports fewer regulations. President Obama has supported and continues to support more regulations. On health care, the differences could not be different. Mitt Romney supports the 10th Amendment in allowing states to be empowered to do what they please on the issue of health care. President Obama believes in a health care plan that is unconstitutional and increases costs and has especially hurt America's women. Mitt Romney believes in an American foreign policy that is consistent and based on the notion that America must defend itself from radical Islamic extremists. President Obama's mixed bag foreign policy believes that we should treat foreign policy like we treat any police matter, meaning sometimes we get the bad guys properly and other times we don't. But his appeasement of radical Islam is dangerous for America and risky for our future. Mitt Romney believes in securing our border and stopping the flow of illegal immigration, whereas President Obama would rather lie to the American people and tell them that Mitt Romney and those who share his views are anti-immigrant, when in fact Mitt Romney and those who share his views are pro-legal immigrant but anti-illegal immigrant, whereas President Obama is pro-illegal immigrant and anti-legal immigrant. Mitt Romney believes in less government intervention into both the economy and into the private lives of the American public. President Obama has a very different view. Now, both of the views espoused by Mitt Romney and President Obama have been tried at different times in history. Governor Romney has the traditional American point of view, the economic policies of the 80s and 90s that led to economic growth. That is what Mitt Romney really supports in this election, the economic policies put in place under Reagan, under Clinton, and to an extent under George W. Bush. Whereas President Obama, again, believes in a European social democracy. The difference is in how they portray different people. Whereas Mitt Romney is encouraging all Americans to believe in America and to unite behind one common goal, and that is for country. President Obama is deciding to declare a war on workers, declare a war on women, and dividing people amongst class to cover for himself. President Obama wants to make this a campaign about personal issues, not about issues that he has failed on, and what the solutions are for our future. It's shameful that rather than tell the truth and face the facts about his own record, President Obama and Democrats that are supporting him are being dishonest about the president's failed policies, whether it be blaming George Bush, attacking capitalism, or pointing to Mitt Romney as out of touch and wealthy. They decide that is the solution of how to win this election, but that is not a governing strategy. For in the next 4 years, how wealthy Mitt Romney is, what policies were implemented under George Bush, are not going to matter to the American public. What is going to matter is if we will continue this president's failed economic policies and failed policies across the board, or whether we will choose a new course. The truth is that the future of America is brighter than the past. We have a brilliant past. Our people are innovative. They believe in entrepreneurship and free markets. America is the greatest ally for peace the world has ever known. America must remain a country that empowers people to strive and to do well. President Obama loves America, but he doesn't understand America. He believes that America would be better if we were more like Europe. Again, this is a model with more poverty, shrinking middle class, higher unemployment, and massive debt. It's not the direction Americans want to go in, and it's not for the best interest of our economy or our security. President Obama is a good man, but he lacks the judgment, he lacks the vision, and he lacks the understanding of complex issues to be able to lead this country. We've seen that in the past couple of years. And as this general election goes on, there's a couple questions that Americans need to ask themselves. First of all, who do you want to lead America in the next 4 years? An academic, an amoral academic who has a lack of understanding of the real economy because he hasn't held a job in the real economy in a long time? Or somebody who spent his life in the private sector before running a state successfully? Do you want a president who's going to embrace free markets and capitalism, which are proven to create economic growth and lift people out of poverty? Or do you want a president who's going to move us towards Europe with higher deficits and more poverty, fewer jobs? Do you want a president who's going to have an American foreign policy consistent with our values and the idea of peace through strength? Or do you want a president who's going to treat the world, treat our military, that is, as a police force, having a hit or miss foreign policy? But the fundamental question of this campaign, and it's the same fundamental question that Ronald Reagan talked about in 1980, the same fundamental question that Bill Clinton asked in 1992. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? With healthcare costs up more than 9%, energy costs more than doubled, unemployment at 8.1%, incomes down 6.7% on average, the highest level of poverty since 1996, and millions of Americans unemployed, and the largest deficits and levels of spending in our nation's history. Are you really better off than you are 4 years? Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? President Obama's answer is could be worse, or we're making progress. But the truth is, that 4 years ago, America was actually better off than they are today. America was in a financial crisis 4 years ago, so that's saying something. It's time for a new direction, and it's time for all of us to believe in America again. And that's why I hope that Mitt Romney becomes the next president of the United States.